This is Barry Zalma speaking for Claim School Incorporated's blog, Zalma on Insurance. Today we speak about an umbrella that does not have the same exclusions as does the primary insurer and finds that it must have a duty to defend, but only under the umbrella policy because of the lack of a primary policy's exclusion in the umbrella policy, so that the duty to defend only exists after the underlying insurance is exhausted. Now, many companies find that a single policy of liability insurance is inadequate and purchase multiple layers of insurance. Many times the policies follow each other's terms and conditions, but not always. Plaintiff Thermoflex Waukegan obtained several layers of coverage, but did not require the terms and conditions of each policy to be the same. In Thermoflex Waukegan versus Mitsui Sumitomo Insurance, the United States Court of Appeals for the Seventh Circuit on May 17, 2024, reviewed the trial court's decision about the various layers. Thermoflex Waukegan had required hourly workers to use handprints to clock in and out. This led to a claim that doing so without the workers' written consent and using a third party to process the data violated the Biometric Information Privacy Act 740 ILCS 14/1, or the BIPA or the Act. The trial court concluded that an exclusion in the basic policy rendered it inapplicable to any claim based on the Act. The exclusion provided that the insurance does not apply to claims arising out of any access to or disclosure of any person or organization's confidential or personal information, including patents, trade secrets, processing messages, customer lists, financial information, credit card information, health information, or any other type of non-public information. Thermoflex maintained that this policy was ambiguous because the exclusion mentions patents which are public. True, the list contains mismatched items, but it can't create ambiguity about either the opening phrase of the exclusion, quote, any person's or organization's confidential or personal information, close quote, or the catch-all, quote, any other type of non-public information, close quote. The Seventh Circuit found it was enough that the exclusion in this policy does not have a flaw and that it applied to deprive Thermoflex of a duty to defend under the basic primary policy. Now, the excess and umbrella policy, on the other hand, had two parts. Coverage U for umbrella lacks an exclusion relating to non-public information. It does not matter what coverage U includes. The parties agreed that it covers BIPA claims unless something excludes coverage. The trial judge found that none of the three arguably applicable exclusions to coverage U is so clear that it forecloses a duty to provide Thermoflex with a defense in the state court suit and therefore required a defense. The third exclusion, which the parties called the ERP exclusion for employment-related practices, bars coverage for injury arising out of A, refusal to employ that person, B, termination of employment of that person, or C, coercion, demotion, evaluation, reassignment, discipline, defamation, harassment, humiliation, malicious prosecution, discrimination, sexual misconduct, or other employment-related practices, policies, acts, or omissions directed towards that person. Parts A and B of the exclusion don't have anything to do with BIPA claims. Mitsui relied in part on Part C, contending that collecting and processing handprints to determine how much time an employee spends at work is an employment-related practice. The Seventh Circuit concluded that a general policy requiring all hourly workers to place their hands on a scanner is an employment-related practice and is not directed towards any given employee. It is just a term or condition of employment, and this exclusion, taken as a whole, is not concerned with the terms and conditions of employment, so it does not prevent coverage for a defense. The umbrella policy provides for defense and indemnity only after underlying insurance and deductibles, which the parties call self-insured retentions, has been exhausted. Because Thermoflex has at least one other policy that applies to the BIPA claims, the duty to defend does exist under the umbrella and does not begin, however, until the limits of the policy plus deductibles have been exhausted. With that proviso, which is part of the district court's decision and judgment, Mitsui owes Thermoflex a defense under the umbrella policy. In my opinion, when primary or basic insurance policy provided limited coverages and an umbrella provides more expansive coverage, the duty to defend clearly applies to the umbrella insurer once a primary or basic insurer expends its limits plus self-insured retentions. The decision eliminated coverage for some insurers and found a duty to defend exists for other coverages. To avoid such a result, many insurers who obtain or write umbrella policies follow the basic insurer's policy terms and conditions to avoid such conflicts. Mitsui didn't and must provide a defense to the insured Thermoflex under the umbrella policy once it comes into effect after the primary policy pays its limits. This video was adapted from my blog, Zelma on Insurance, which is available free to anyone who clicks on the URL zelma.com/blog. You can subscribe to the blog, and if you do, you'll receive notice of every blog posting, usually 5 or 6 a week, and you'll gain access to the more than 4,800 blog postings. If you're interested, you can also subscribe to the videos, which are also free. And if you do, I'd appreciate it if you click on the like button on YouTube or the thumbs up button on rumble.com. And if you're interested in more detail about insurance, insurance claims, insurance fraud, and insurance law, please consider for a very small fee subscribing to my Substack publication. Thank you for your attention.